What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your week in review for April 20th, 2020. Happy holidays, everybody, but it's not so happy. We're still not in Wave 1 PTU for 3.9. We had an update a little bit last week from Tyler saying possibly over the weekend, but then that didn't happen, and now we have an additional update from a Unified Friends List post from Molly that kind of implies that we'll get some news over the next couple days. So we'll talk about that post a little bit later in a different section of the video, but that general section is kind of promising that, you know, they were hoping to have it at the end of the week, and they didn't, and now maybe we can expect it somewhere in the beginning/middle of this week. Who knows? But in general, my feelings on the whole thing are 3.8 was not playable until 3.8.2 for me. And why would we want 3.9 to be like that? If we can have 3.9 feel like 3.8.2 does now, once we get out of the PTU stage, I think we have a solid couple months to 3 months of 3.9 gameplay where, you know, we're able to make some progress in the game, and that's a good thing. So this delay, while it's not fun, neither was playing 3.8 or 3.8.1, so what's really the difference here? I'd rather not have it, and when I get it, it's good, than have it and have it really not be. So moving on to roadmap updates, we had a roadmap roundup that was a little rough this week. So server to client actor network rework was moved. So let's talk about what that actually is. So it allows the server and our PC to communicate better. And the benefits of this are like less lag and rubber banding, so maybe some like desync things as well. It was bumped because server meshing is now a huge priority this year. So assets were taken from this and added to meshing. And I love this. As I've said before, meshing is like one of those final pillars that gets the framework of the game of what Star Citizen may look like. And then we can realistically see this is how things work, and they can start adding gameplay to it more vigorously than what they're doing now, because they won't have to redo everything for server meshing. So that's, in my opinion, a positive, but we'll have to see how that ends up panning out. Death animation improvements. This was another thing that moved, and priority support was basically given to body dragging instead. And in my opinion, body dragging has so many more gameplay possibilities than what a death animation may look like. And it's now slated, you know, that's actually slated for 4.0 for the time being and isn't currently moving, but again, 4.0 is quite a ways away, so we'll see what happens with that. And then for PvP bounties, it was removed because it really didn't mean anything. It was actually preliminary work for changes to PvP bounties in the future. So, you know, it got taken off the roadmap. That's pretty self-explanatory, but it really does, for me, it showcases the lack of attention being paid to the content that's delivered to us to some extent with their open development initiatives, right? Like the roadmap is supposed to be a direct thing of what they're working on at the current times. And, well, this is one of those things. They're working on it in the background of, you know, PvP bounties for the future. And it's nice to see that on the roadmap, but it would have been nice if it was, like, explained better. And the fact that it took until we asked what it meant for them to tell us, you know, you should look at it and look at that and kind of know that that might be an issue. But hey, you know, they're learning as they go, and hopefully they continue to get better. So now for the juicy one, Crusader and Horizon, or I don't know how to say it. Doesn't matter. We're not going to play it until the end of the year. So Crusader and Horizon have been moved to the end of the year, or basically 4.2, and the reasons being we're focusing on Grimhex and other environmental work. So before you freak out about them working on Grimhex, they prioritize piracy gameplay. So jails and different missions and things like that. So why wouldn't they prioritize making a really good, solid place for pirates to hang out? And Grimhex is really rough right now with 0 hangars and very few pads. So the work on Grimhex is actually vital. It's pretty important. And obviously we have Pyro coming in the future, but where do these pirates play now? Where do they deal with things now, right? So it just makes sense to me. There were new Babbage delays, and, you know, there's really nothing additional to add to that. They got delayed with making new Babbage, and what can you do? and the obvious work from home transition, which is a valid excuse. So it sucks, but the only thing that really gets weird about this is calling 4.0 to me. For me, everything after 3.9 that I see on the roadmap currently, before we finish the Stanton system completely, is a 3.9.x patch. And if we have to go to 3.9.9 to get there, that's fine by me. I know it's like something stupid and it's just semantics, but 4.0 should be something awesome. It should be something exciting. It should be something new. And to finish, it should be a milestone. And nothing I see on the roadmap post 3.9, currently, because we don't have Horizon or Crusader on the roadmap, because we don't have 4.2, is not a milestone by any means. It's just additional work being added to the current build that we're playing. So I know it's stupid, but hey, whatever. And additions to what currently is being called 4.0, I hope they do change it, is shop additions to New Babbage, which is a knick-knack kiosk. What? Excuse me? When I see this, it's one of those things that frustrates me, but it's one of those things where, like, I don't work there, so I don't know what's going on in the background, but I can't see how something else couldn't be prioritized by the team that's working on this. I just can't fathom that a knick-knack shop would take priority over a million other things that should be coming into the game, unless a knick-knack shop is the start to cosmetic and microtransactions in the game. And you can think of that as a good or a bad thing. I personally think it may be a good thing because it may transition away from ship sales that have a really direct impact on how the game is played, where cosmetics really do not. So, feel free to comment below on what you think about that, but yeah. Next was another addition to 4.0, elevator panel updates, and it's just moving the elevators to building blocks, which is no surprise. We've seen this kind of coming as things that they're working on, especially with the ships. Height map improvements, so the planets will continue to look better. Awesome. Not really much to comment on there. And the Cutlass Blue, this is a big one. The sneak peek of it recently showed a possible quantum enforcement drive in there, which brings a second ship that supports it. So, in my opinion, the quantum enforcement drives kind of thing needs a little bit more tweak, balance, thought, and attention paid to it. And it's not a really great or useful mechanic right now. It has some use, but maybe this will give it a little bit more attention. And moving on, we have video updates. So we still don't have an ISC this week. It should be back next week, but given we're not even out of 3.9 yet, I don't know what's really going to happen with that. But we did get an SCL, and it was with the US PU gameplay team. And we're going to jump right into it. And they first ask, can we make our own waypoints?
Now, I'm assuming that means the ability to kind of find something or set your own point and then have that in your history, kind of go back to it. Yes is the short answer. That this is something that I kind of tie this to kind of the whole data running, type of experience, exploration, being able to kind of sell those off. And so I would expect this around that feature timeline, but this is definitely something that we want to be able to do in the near future sometime. Like it's exploration is being talked about a lot more heavily now. So
I mean, obviously this is a yes, and it really shows how CIG prioritizes. And this may seem like a really important thing to you. I mean, honestly, I think it's very important for the game overall, but what's the point of creating a waypoint if you can't do anything at these random locations right now, right? Like, we have very theme parky mechanics to Star Citizen at the moment, and I'm looking forward to when we need it, but we need those gameplay features first, like exploration and data running, like Rob mentioned. Then we had a question about when are we going to be able to trade with each other, like a trading app in the Mobiglass or something.
Funny you bring that up. We are literally working this quarter on a player trading app, which I'm so excited about because it's the beginning of being able to trade items and things like that. However, it will be limited to money to start. But that's that. Yeah, I don't know if people are aware, but we've kind of focused on this friends and social aspect of our game again this quarter, kind of trying to bring that back up to speed here. And in my opinion, like player trading is a huge part of that, right? It's just the social interaction of, hey, I got this, I'll give it to you for this. And so with our physical inventory, it's definitely gonna come with some restrictions as far as like item trading, maybe being in the same place as somebody else. You'll be able to essentially wire money to somebody anywhere in the universe though. So you can just send a gift to your buddy and they don't have to be on the same server. It's going to be friends list driven. So if you have them in your contacts, shoot them a payment, and there you go.
This is super exciting that it's actively being worked on right now, and it's not on the roadmap at all, which is more proof that we really should stop putting all of our onus on the roadmap. Even better is the fact that we can send money and be completely across the system or on different servers from one another, and it works on the friends list. So that's really great. I love that idea, and yeah, I'm really excited to get this in my hands whenever we do get it. Then we went into how does the cargo deck impact the game, and that's the thing that we saw the sneak peek for, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Originally, and we're still moving forward with this vision, we had the idea of a cargo depot, and that's kind of like the cargo network that supplies a planetary area, right, and all its moons. All of the externally shipped cargo would go through these major cargo depots.
I thought it was very important that Rob explained that a depot is different than the cargo deck, and that it's important because the depot is a big station that all of a given planet and its moons trading goes through, and that's going to create this really busy trade lane system that pirates can attack and bounty hunters can go for, and so on and so forth. It creates a whole wealth of gameplay, and that's really exciting. But then he touches on what the actual deck is and what it will bring to the game for us.
If you have a large bit of cargo, large items, things like that you'd want to trade to somebody else, you'd have to go to a cargo deck in your location, store it there, the trade ownership to the other person can come pick it up from that location, right? And it's to kind of prevent people from like money instantly shipping, billions of dollars of goods that don't have to go through pirate space, right? It's to keep that kind of physical nature of the world that CR always wants to try and preserve with the gameplay. Like cargo depots may have the guild manager that you can go and get special missions for, get membership into the trading guild, things like that. You'll be able to rent storage space. It'll also have, cargo ships that you can rent. If you don't have one, you can rent one for a bit through these places. So it's kind of a location that we're trying to put into stations. So it would just be a deck that's somewhere in the station that you can take an elevator to and go and start dealing with the stuff there. So and I would expect these things to kind of get inserted into like starports or things like that too. We haven't really discussed exactly where they're going to go in the major landing zones yet, but certainly needs to be a part of it.
I like that the deck is more for personal use and storing your cargo, trading with friends, even renting cargo ships, missions, stuff like that. All really cool ideas. I wonder how much attention is going to be paid to the cargo depots mentioned before and how much interaction we will have at them. Maybe that's where the Traders Guild will be or something like that. But who knows? And then we talk about shop screen UI. So I guess this kind of goes with trading as well.
And that's part of a long process of converting all of our screens that has just started, actually. So the prison deposit kiosk is the first shopping kiosk that is using building blocks, like totally. And we're going to be iteratively like doing, a couple every quarter or one or two a quarter, like, all right, now this screen is using it, now the screen is using it, and getting down the process. Each one's getting a little quicker, but it's part of a long sort of vision of updating our shopping experience.
So they're adding all this to building blocks as we expected, but it's not as simple as they kind of have always made it seem. So it's going to take a couple months to get a few different screen types available. I've been saying, and I still believe, that them getting through this backlog is going to take some time, like we're seeing with the ships and their HUDs and the elevators and so on and so forth. But once we get through that, I really think we're going to start seeing gameplay moving and coming into the game a lot faster. And speaking of that, one of the biggest parts of gameplay is being able to take something that you earned or found and be able to sell it back or stuff like that in game. So the question was posed, when can we sell items back to shops?
So right now, the problem lies with the way that we set up the shops are very specific to single items. And when I think of the sell back feature, I don't want to have to go, oh, well, I need to take this item and go sell it over here, and this item and go sell it over. If it's a weapon, I want to sell it back to the weapon shop. If it's a ship thing, I want to sell it back to the ship shop, right? And we can't group them by item types right now. So just weapons as a full sale thing, and that's the kind of functionality that I would wait until we have so we don't have to go through every single shop and add a bazillion items and yes, can buy, sell. Like, no, just here's an archetype of a shop, and there you go. This is what you can sell back to them.
These are all valid reasons not to do the work yet, but if it's not a massive priority in the very near future to do so, I would be pretty upset. I just don't understand why something like that actually seems like it could be a possibility to be done is not something that they're considering a priority. I mean, I'll go back to the knickknack shop. I know maybe this team isn't the team that's working on the knickknack shop, but maybe the team that is can work on categorizing all of the items in the game properly. I don't know, guys, but to me, if I was going to play a game and play it often, the things that I find in the world when I'm playing need to have a value and need to be useful, right? And currently, it doesn't really work that way. And that's really weird, and I don't like it, and I really hope that it is a priority in the future. And I'm thinking about doing a whole nother video around this idea, maybe for tomorrow or Wednesday, because, especially if 3.9's not out, because I have a real concern about this in particular. So I might do like a Salty Thoughts video coming out, so keep an eye out on that. And if you think the work from home initiative isn't causing issues, you're dead wrong.
In the near future, I was actually supposed to go out to the UK to discuss how we kind of change this and make it some better quality of life experience and more interesting for our longer distance travel experiences in May, but that's not going to happen now. So I'm at home instead, and we'll kind of prioritize some other features instead until we can kind of have those conversations. But
this completely points out, while they're well situated to work from home because they're already used to talking to other studios over Skype or whatever, work from home is absolutely having an effect on the game's progress. We're hearing it in the roadmap now. We heard it from Xylo in my chat the other day, and it's very clear from Rob here that they're reprioritizing because he's not able to fly to Europe. And that sucks. It's a situation we're all in. There's no reason to get mad at CIG or anyone for this. But we did hear people come on and say that, like, hey, like Jared came on and said, we are well equipped to deal with this. And it kind of calmed us all down and made things feel like they were going to be, 3.9 was going to be on time and so on and so forth. But I don't think Jared was, disingenuous or anything, but I think we need to realize that this year may not be a really great year, and our expectations need to definitely get lowered for what we can expect to see in the future, because some of the features that he was working on, like quantum travel and making it more interesting, is really important. But now that's on the back burner because he's working from home, and that sucks. So I think we should just, kind of have maybe different expectations from this point forward. All of our lives are going to change, and the progress of this game is going to change as well. And maybe they're going to grab a little bit more low-hanging fruit throughout the year and just try and get little things moving in Star Citizen, and unfortunately, maybe no real super big ticket items as something like quantum travel and having some quality of life improvements for that. So with that, we'll move into other updates this week, and we really only have one, and it's that unified friends list for 3.9. So basically, they're going to be merging all those lists tomorrow, the 21st, if you're watching this on the 20th, and we're going to have 800 max friends. So we got a post from Molly. Thank you to Molly for that. And that's really going to do it for this week, guys. As always, leave a like below and leave a comment below. Sorry, leave a like, hit the comments, and let me know what you guys think about anything we discussed here today. And make sure you subscribe for more weeks in review. Also, I've been, doing a lot of Star Citizen content on my live stream on Twitch. So twitch.tv/SaltEMike for that. And guys, I hope you're all staying safe, and I will see you guys next week.